Hi guys and welcome back. So today we're going to talk about color changes, which is basically changing one card to another visually in the front of the spectator's eyes. So it's a very visual kind of magic. We're returning to the Royal Road to Card Magic for these color changes. Remember, this is one of the very best books for beginners if you want to learn card magic, and we're going through every sleight more or less and every trick more or less on this channel right now. So if you want to learn all the basics of card magic, make sure to subscribe and hop along right now and go check out the playlist of all the videos from this book. Now, on my very first video on this channel, which most of you probably haven't watched, and I don't blame you because it's a very long, tedious video with a lot of talk, but I introduced the Royal Road to Card Magic in that video, and I also explained that you should see this not as me teaching you how to do this trick, but more as, you know, a friend kind of jamming together, going through the book and sharing ideas and so on. Obviously, you don't need the book to follow along because I'll show you all the mechanics of all the moves, but if you want to get it, go check the link down below. Now that being said, so far I have known all the slides and most of the tricks we've done on the channel, you know, all the false shuffles and controls and the pass and all of that. But now we reach a chapter with a lot of techniques that I didn't know from before. So again, don't see me as a teacher, see me as someone who, from the best of my abilities, try to show you these tricks and these slides. So I just want to be clear on that, full disclosure and all of that. But still, I think if you watch this video and learn the mechanics of the move and then practice it a lot, you'll definitely know how to do these moves from this video alone. So enough talking, let's get into it and learn these color changes together. So this first one is simply called Color Change in the book, and it's on page 166. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to change the top card, in this case the Ace of Hearts, to the bottom card, the Ace of Clubs. Generally, when you do a color change, you want the card to contrast quite a bit, because it's more striking, obviously. Now, in broad strokes, what's going to happen is we're going to extract this bottom card, draw that out with our middle finger, but we're going to, of course, have our other fingers there as well to cover that from the right. So that gets drawn out. This is, of course, from a very exposed view, and it's written on that middle finger. And then we come back and add it to the face and kind of square up a little bit. So let's go through that in a little bit more detail. So obviously this is a very angle sensitive move. You can clearly see what's happening from most angles except from basically the right angle, from the right. So in the book they recommend that you use your left index finger to draw that card out first and then come over with your right hand and take it. I don't really think that's necessary. As long as you don't have very dry hands, you can just contact that bottom card directly with the right hand and draw that out, okay? So what's happening is you're only using the outer phalange, basically, of your right middle finger to draw that card out, okay? So that gets drawn out like this. And as I said, it's riding more or less in the crease of that middle finger. So I'm trying to remove all the other fingers you can see. This requires a very light touch because one of the drawbacks of this color change is that your hand can look pretty cramped, okay? So try to have a light touch. You can extend only your index finger if you want to. And as I said, this is from an exposed view, so it's very easy for you to see what's happening. And it's, as I said, it's riding there. And then you come over again like this, and if you want to, you can kind of square it up like so, okay? So again, you come over, you draw that card out, you come over and kind of square up, and that's the whole thing. If you want to, you can take that card in a kind of a palm, I guess you could call it, and, you know, have a break and say something to the spectators or whatever, and then come over and add that on top. But as I said, remember that your hand looks pretty cramped, so be aware of that and only do this when it's, you know, in the right moment, basically. Okay, so that is the first color change from the Royal Road to Card Magic. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so one of the most obvious ways of doing a color change when you're in the know and you're a magician is to have a card palmed off and then come over and add it back on top, basically. but we need to disguise this. This color change, by the way, is not from the Royal Road to Card Magic. I don't know where this is from, but I saw Paul Wilson do this, and it's a pretty neat one if you ask me. So this is the broad strokes. The card you're going to change into is going to be on top. So we're going to change this one, the second card, the Ace of Hearts, to the Ace of Spades. Okay, so the broad strokes of this is we're going to turn the deck over, and in the right moment we're going to palm off that Ace of Spades and then add it back on top. Okay, so this is what's happening. We have the deck face down in left hand mechanics grip. We come over with our right hand, fingers on top, thumb underneath, and we're gonna turn it over end. So you take it like this, and then you take your left hand, turn it over, palm down like so, and you start to rotate the deck towards you. And when that ace is facing you, you use the thumb to push it over in preparation for the palm. And you palm that off and you show the Ace of Hearts. And again, the best angle for this is to the right. So from there. So this is a little bit exposed. So you can probably see that card, but from the right, they won't be able to do that. And then you're simply going to add that back on top, something like that. Okay, so one more time, you grab it, fingers on top, thumb underneath. You meet the deck with your left hand, fingers on top, thumb underneath again. You start to rotate it. You begin to push this face card over a little bit in preparation for the palm. And you palm it around about here, and you show from the right again this card. You come over, and one nice way of dumping this on top is come over and just spread your fingers like this. So they'll see this index change first when you do that, okay? And the more you practice, the smoother it is, the better it looks, of course. But this is a pretty nice way of changing that card. One thing to keep in mind is the timing of this, because if you palm the card too late, they will see, even from the right, they will see that card disappearing, okay? And if you palm it too early from certain angles, they will see the card from this angle, basically. So you need to time this correctly. Not too early, not too late, but still you're pretty covered from the angle from the right, okay? So make sure to practice that in front of a mirror. Okay, so that was the second color change. Let's move on to the third one. So this change is called the changing card, and it's on page 168 in the Royal Road to Card Magic. The one way to do this change, just to illustrate, is to have a card selected. So let's use the King of Diamonds in this case. Have it returned to the pack, and you're going to control that card to the second position from the top, however you want. So that is now on the second position, and on the top we have the Ace of Hearts. Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to use your right thumb to draw that card out. So you might say, okay, so your card is not on top right, but it's the bottom one, isn't it? And what's going to happen, the broad stroke, is your left index finger is going to contact this card, their selection, pull it inwards like this as you come over and grab that and put it on the face. So in a little bit more detail, I recommend having the cards a little bit beveled towards you like this, because it will be easier to pull down on that selection. So you draw out that card, and again, as I said, you contact, and since it's a little bit beveled here, it's easier to pull down on one card only, okay? And when they say, no, that's not my card, so in slow motion, again, now you start pushing that inwards towards you, and you grab it from above, okay? You grab a double card and put it on top, and it doesn't really matter if it's a little bit unsquared, because you're moving it directly and putting it on the top and square everything out. And you said, oh, I could have sworn that that was your card, okay? And what it looks like actually in real life, the camera might be too good and pick this up in another way than the human eye, but in real life it kind of looks like it's changing mid-air, basically. And the big motion of taking that out and putting that on top covers the smaller motion of that card being pushed inwards. And as I said, even if they're a little bit unsquared, they won't see that when the card is moving and you square it up directly as you put it on the top. So that can be a funny little way of revealing their card. Okay, so the last color change for today is called double color change, and it's on page 167 in the Royal Road to Card Magic. Now for explanation purposes, and this can actually be a pretty cool trick or reveal of its own, we're gonna have one red ace on the face, the ace of hearts in this case, and somewhere around the middle we have the two black aces followed by the other red ace. So before starting, you can do this, you start spreading the cards towards yourself so the spectator can't see this, and when you reach the other red ace, you're going to leave that on the bottom portion, square that up, and then you can square up the top portion on top like this. So you have the two halves are squared up, but one half is stepped outward like so. So this color change is basically a combination of the first one we did and this last one we did, the changing card. And what's going to happen is you're going to come over the top packet and draw that last card of the top packet. You're going to draw that out like we did before in the crease of your right middle finger. And directly after you've drawn that out, you're going to contact the next card, which is the other black ace. And as you come over with this, you're going to actually, and I'm just doing this with my nail now, you're going to pull that inwards like so, okay? So that changes the bottom ace. But you do that under the protection of your right hand as it comes over. You can square everything up and come away like so. So again, this is basically from the right angle over here basically. So again, that bottom card of the top portion is pulled out by the crease basically of the middle finger, and it comes out, and directly as it does, this finger, and again you can have this a little bit beveled towards you so it's easier to pull down on one card, and as you come over, that card is pulled down under cover of the right hand coming over, placing that other ace on top, and this continues to come down until it's flush. You square up, and just like that you have changed two cards at once. Now again, have this top portion beveled a little bit, because it's definitely going to take practice to be quick about engaging only that top card and pull it inwards. And experiment also, if you want to, with only using your nail, like I'm doing here. That can actually be quicker, okay? And you can also, before you start to push this downwards, you can take a break with your right hand, again, as we talked about, to kind of engage, and then engage in that card, and then kind of point, and then do, you know, the change, okay? So experiment with that if you want to just, you know, come out and back directly, or if you want to take a break, and, you know, different ways of doing this. If you want to engage in this card with the tip of your finger, or perhaps with the nail only, okay? Oh, two queens. So, you know, you have to experiment with this a little bit. But I think this can be a very cool color change with a little bit more practice. So that was the last color change. I hope you liked that one. Okay guys, so that's the end of the video, and as I said, full disclosure, I'm not as practiced with these changes as some of the other stuff we've done so far, but I hope you got like an idea of this and how you can do this and the mechanics of it, and with a little bit more practice I think this can be very smooth and pretty cool color changes. Remember, when we reach 3,000 subscribers, we're gonna have a giveaway and a very cool trick, so make sure to subscribe for that. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate it. Remember to like the video and subscribe. That really helps me out. Have a wonderful day. See you next time. Bye bye.